All right. We're starting the Imkol Hanal move on. We're discussing over here the special Maila of Neshamas Yisrael. The world was created in a way that there is a big tzimtzum from the level of Memalekul Alma until it comes down into this world of Asiya. There's a big tzimtzum. And then the Eibishter sows Neshamas Yisrael into the Olam Hazeh, so that they, through their Torah mitzvahs that they do, they are megale and they reveal the Ein Sof in the world. That's the process, and that's the purpose of Neshamas Yisrael in this world. The fact that Neshamas Yisrael can increase the Ein Sof in this world, that makes them, from that perspective, makes them even higher than Torah. As he started off asking before, that we see in some places, it says that the Neshamas Yisrael are even higher than Torah. So he says that's the part. Torah is limited. Whatever the halacha is, that remains the halacha. There is no change in that. But the Yidden bring about change through their avodah. Let's look inside. Ve'im kol hanal, move on. So with all the above, we understand eich shebazeh godlo ma'alas neshamas Yisrael al b'chinas haTorah. That with this aspect, the advantage of the Neshamas Yisrael is greater than the level of Torah. Ki hinei af di oiraiso mechochma ilo nafkis. Although Torah comes from the level of the supreme Chochma, it comes from Chochma the Atzilus. Seems to be that Chochma is connected to the Ein Sof, connected to Chochma Vatzilus. Mein Sof Nafki. Imko ze, but yet, when that level of Chochma, Kishen Nimshach, when it extends Ubol Libchinas Dvar Havaya, Zu Haloche, when it comes to the level of Dvar Hashem, which is Haloche, basically, when you have to make the ruling how the halacha should be from the level of Chochma Ilah, as it comes down to the Dvar Havaya, Zu halacha. Now, why do we say this is called the word of Hashem? Like we find Ukemaimer Eliyahu, as Eliyahu says, the Malchus Peh, that Malchus, which is Peh, which is Dibur, that's Torah Shabbat, that's the oral Torah, that's the level of Dvar Hashem. So, B'chol Protei Ha'aloches Shebechinas Nimin V'Sairus, and all the details of the halachas which are in the level of strands and hairs, they all come from the level of Chochma Ilah, as the pasuk says, "V'dalas roishcho k'argomon." The here the wolf, the hair is like the dalos roishcho. That's the pony tail on the hair is like argomon, is like purple wool. So all a level of comes from Chochma, but you have an endless amount, Shane, ad ein case. There's no end. Like we said before, Aloma saying Nispar. These are all the halachas. So when it comes down from the level of Chochma into the level of Dibur, into the level of the Nimin hair, which is an endless amount, that Sheyiyah Kach, Yiyadin Kach, when the situation is such, that's the way the halacha should be. U'kameshekosu v'alomes ein mispar shehein halachas kinal. As we said, alomes ein mispar, which is the halachas. So once it comes down, azai ein bahem toisves v'ribui. So there is no addition, there is no increase. Rak kafi ha'halocha shenimshach mibechinas dibur ha'elyon chulu. Only according to the halacha that extends from the level of dibur ha'elyon, that's what you have in Torah. It comes down only by the halacha. So it may be a whole lot of halachas. Alomis ein mispar, but yet there is no increase in them once it comes from chokma, raisa b'chokma nafkes. And this would be similar to the malachim, which also don't increase, as we'll see, as opposed to the Neshamas Yisrael. Just like also the malachim who come from the level of Dvar Havaya. Here, the Dvar Havaya is the halachas. The malachim also come from the level of Dvar Havaya from Malchus, K'moshe Kosuv. As the pasuk says, "Uveruach piv kol tzvam," through the air of his mouth, all the armies come from Hashem. Ein bahem ribui v'toisves klal. There is no increase, and there is no many from the malachim. There's no additional malachim. Malach echad ein yochel liyis malach sheni. From one angel, there cannot be another angel. That's why there is no fruitful and multiply by malachim. Whatever it is, it's limited to what it is. Mash'en ke neshamas Yisrael, as opposed to the souls of Yidden, heim davke mamshichim tomid b'chinas oiren sabaruchu lemata. They constantly bring down the level of the infinite light, blessed be He below. Through the mitzvahs, action mitzvahs that they do, they bring down the b'chinas ribui v'toisefes. They bring around a lot additional lights in sof into the world. K'moshe Kosub, as the pasuk says, Eila hamitzvahs asher yaseh oda oisam ha'odam. These are the mitzvahs that the person does. V'chai bohem, and those give life. Shehem heim hamamshichim b'chinas chayis me'or ein sof baruch hu. They are the ones that bring down the energy. He lives with them because they bring down the energy, the life, the vitality from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. U'k'moshe kosu, as the pasuk says, "V'asisem oisam atem ksiv." You will do them means not do them, the mitzvahs, but ksiv atem, you make them. V'asisem atem, that the Yid brings down the chayis and brings down the energy. So that's the addition that Neshamas Yisrael do beyond what Malachim and beyond what the Torah itself. That there is an increase and there is an addition of chayis, of vitalities, which is nimshachs through the avodah of the Yid. U'k'moshe kosu b'dibur hamaschil Torah tziva b'pirush al tikra bonoich elo boinoich. That says don't and pronounce it bonoich, you shouldn't, but boinoich, you builders. Which means sheneshamas Yisrael heim hamamshichim hayichud mibchinas Torah shebiksav. shenikra chosen, the union from the level of the written Torah, which is called chosen, lebechina, and the mashpia lebechinas Torah shabal peh shenikras kalo, to the level of Torah shabal peh, which is called kalo. So that makes a yichud of chosen kalo. The yid makes the yichud from Torah shabiksav and Torah shabal peh. That's what's called the builders, because they built it up. The hamshoche from Miksav to the Torah Shabbat Peh, and becomes a yichud of Chos and Kala, and they become builders. Okay, so how does this happen? But before doing the mitzvahs, or before the yichud of Torah, you have to have the level of bittul b'mesiras nefesh. Ach kol zehu davke al yidei bittul b'mesiras nefesh al Yisrael mikodim. First has to be the subjugation to devoting your soul of the yidden that takes place first, b'bechinas v'ahavta shebekriya shema, in the level of ahavta, which is in kriya shema, in the reading of Shema. V'oz nikras achasira yosi. Explaining back to the pasuk achasira yosi, shishim hema meloches and pelakshim, but it says achasira yosi. My beloved, my rayosi is achas shemekablim mibchinas echad yichidei shel olam, because they receive from the level of echad. And Yisrael Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Echad. So when they receive from Echad Yichidei Shel Olam through the level of Mesiras Nefesh, that makes them into the level of Achas. It brings down Uberabes in the parentheses, Uberabes Nose Parsha Yudalid, when the pasuk says there Kaf Achas Asora Zohov, it's the korban that the Nesiim brought. So it says Kaf Achas Shenemar, says the achas hiye nosi. So the kaf achas is a references to the yidden which are achas hiye nosi. Umashe nikras kaf achas. Why do we call it kaf achas? Yuvre mashakosu b'divra maschil yenosi b'chag v'hasel b'inyan u'lechi loch, as explained in that Mamer. So after you have the level of ahavta in Krishma, and you are called achas, va'oz yecholim lahamshich oir ein sof baruch hu lemato. Then we are able to draw down the oir ein sof, the infinite light, blessed be He, below. V'sheyiyeh yichud oilemes elyonim v'tachtonim, so that there will be the union of the upper and the lower world, actually. Shaloi yiyeh bechinas almin de pruda. There shall not be worlds of separation, that they're separated, which means liyos nidim ki ilu heim yesh v'dovar nifra b'fnei atzmei, that they appear to be an entity, something separate by themselves, till it appears as if there is two, God forbid, two dominants, there's two reshuyos. As the mean said to the he said to the, and the Gemara brings down, he said to the Amoira, he says, Mipalgo de le'ela, Mipalgo de le'tata. He sort of split it up. He says the upper part of you is Hurmiz, and Mipalgo de le'tata is Ahurmiz, is a Aveda Zora. So there's split. In the view of the mean, there are two different domains. There's a domain attack of the Eberster, which is Palgoch de Le'ela, but there's a Tato. So this is all the way the world appears to be a davar nifrad. But what the Yid does, he is mamshich Ein Sof into the world, that the world should not appear like two separate, should not be an almond de prudim, should not be a separated world, but rather it should be just like it's the union, Hashem's presence and oneness is felt in the upper world, so it should be in the lower world. But he thinks that there's two separate worlds because because take, the way it's above of a deer, there's total union, there's total together. And then when it comes down through the tzimtzumim, through the ishtalshalus, so when it goes down below, it becomes in a level of alma de pruda, a separated world. Kamesha kosu, as the pasuk says, umishom yipare, that over there it separates. When it comes the rivers, as it says in the pasuk, so which basically means when the oir of the Ein Sof comes down to this level, it becomes like a separated, like has a part which is Ein Sof, and then there's a part which is separated. That's before the Yidden are mamshich. What does the Yid do? He makes that level of union. He makes yichud. Ochem kishe Yisrael mamshichin gilui oir Ein Sof baruch hu lamato. When the Yidden bring down the oir Ein Sof baruch hu below, gam kein mamesh k'moi shehu ba'olam elyonim. Actually, exactly as it's in the worlds above. The Yidden bring down the Ein Sof in the world, reveal Ein Sof in the world, as I nase bohem b'chinas yichud elyonim v'tachtonim v'tachos. So then, in them, you get the level of the union of the upper and the lower totally, because also in the lower world is a revelation of the Ein Sof, just as the revelation in the Olam Yonim, so it's in the Olam Tachton. V'zohu tamosi loshen tmimis. The pasuk says, "Achas hi yoinosi tamosi." Achas hi, as he's teaching now, the old teach now is that's the level of union, of oneness, to be mamshich, the level of achas that they get from Yechida Shaloilam, the Ein Sof, through their bitlim sidus nefesh, and when they do mitzvahs and learn Torah, they bring down the Ein Sof so that there should be a union. So then achas he tamosi, yonosi tamosi. So what's the tamosi? Loshen timimus. Then there is, it's a language of wholesomeness. Ubeloshen Yiddish, in Yiddish, mach mich ganz. Make me whole. Tamosi. That's sort of saying that the Yidden should make Hashem whole. How is that? Shal Yidei Knesset Yisrael, because through the Knesset, the gathering of Yidden, which means through the Neshamas Yisrael, Nase Yichud Ein Sof Baruch Hu Lamato K'moi Shehu Lamaylo Mamish. Then it becomes that Ein Sof's union below in this world, just as he is above, actually the same as above, that in the world below you sense the Ein Sof just as it is in the worlds above. V'zehu gam kein, and this is also the meaning of te'oimosi. Tamosi, this is the first translation. Tamosi is tmimus, but it also is translated as my twin. Shehu bechinas yichud zov v'nukva, because that is the union of zov v'nukva in Olam HaAtzilus, she'emidas al yonis da'atzilus, b'chinas malchus da'atzilus. That's the union of zov v'nukva, which is the midas, supreme midas in Atzilus, and malchus da'atzilus. She'mislabeshes b'biyah, that dresses up in biyah, she'misyachdim b'tachlus al yidei b'nei Yisrael kinal. They totally unite the level of Atzilus through the union of Zo Malchus that is Mamshich into the Olam Biyah through the Bnei Yisrael accomplished that. So you have the two taichin in the word Tamosi, make me whole, because they bring about the Ein Sof in the world. They're making the Eibishter whole in this world. And they're also making, it's like my twin, because just like the Yidden bring down the Shekhinah below, this is the twin, the same activity, the Yichud of Zov and Nukva, to bring down the level of from Atzilus into Biyah through the union that the Yid creates through the Torah mitzvahs. But the pasuk says, "Achasi yoinosi tamosi," that it's yoinosi. So what is the yoinosi? So first there has to be the level of yoinosi. Ukumeshe kosuv, as the pasuk says, another verse says, "Einecho yoinim chulu," your eyes like those of the yenu, like the pigeon. There needs to be that looking of the pigeon, which means that they gaze and delight at each other, delighting over Hashem. Shekemoi zug yoinim, just like a pair of pigeon. Sheikir hatainug shalohem, their main delight is who histaklus. Shemistaklim zalzeh, that's the gazing, that they gaze one on each other. That's a pleasure that the pigeons have. That's what we're trying to compare here, that the level of yoinosi, the level of yonim. Kamakein lemailo, same thing above. Sheyiya bechinas tamosi to oimosi, so that there should be the level of tamosi to oimosi, which is shehu to oimosi, shehu yichud zo v'nukva chosen v'kalo. That's the union of zo, the zeirampin, and level of nukva malchus, which is chosen v'kalo. Hu al yidei b'chinas yonosi mekoidem. First, you have to have the level of yonosi, which is shehu b'chinas hatainuk. That's the level of the light shetzorich liyes b'neshamas Yisrael liistakola b'ikora demalko. That the Jewish souls have to have that pleasure, that they gaze on the splendor of the king. Which means what? That before you come, you have to gaze at Hashem. That's the level of the hisboinenus. That's the level of the meditation and the reflection. Shubechinas ha hisboinenus bigdulas eir ein sof baruch hu. That is the reflection and the greatness of the infinite light, blessed be He, to gaze and appreciate Hashem, and to get that level of tainu, get that level of love, the level of pleasure, and the level of simcha. Benikras simchas kalo. And that's called the joy of the kala. Shehu hatainuk shel hakala mihahistaklus al hachosim. That's the delight of the bride, of the kala, from looking at the chosin. So when a yid meditates and reflects and appreciates the lights in the splendor of the Eibishter, how? By deeply meditating and reflecting on the greatness, that is the splendor of the king, because his boinanus, his meditation or reflection, he appreciates and he sees the splendor of godliness. And through the persons turning and gazing, appreciating Hashem, there's also from above to below, ksiv, ein Hashem el yireov. Hashem's eyes are to those that fear him. Fear him means the level of bittul. Yireov hu b'chinas bittul. That's the level of bittul. Those who are bottled to the Eibishter, then they get to also be mamshich, the ein Hashem, the eyes of Hashem. Hashem gazes at them in return. I know. Kishe Yisrael heim lemato tomid b'chinas bittul havayechu. When the Yidden here below are constantly in a level of subjugation to Havayeh, nis'oirer mizeh b'chinas tainu godel l'maylo. From this arouses a great delight above. As the pasuk says, "Vayar elikim es kol asher oso, v'hinei tov me'od." Hashem sees everything that he does, and it's all good. That means, you're enjoying it. As, for example, a person shemakabel tainik who receives the light. He created a beautiful thing. So now this is a great tainug godel from what he has done. This tainug of above, that's the simcha of chosin. The tainug zeh shenasa l'maylo. This tainug that becomes above, it nikra simchas chosin. That's called the joy of the chosin. The joy of the kala, we said earlier, is the joy of his bonus from the greatness of the Ein Sof. That's the joy of the kala by gazing at Yikora de Malko. Hashem then returns that level, Ein Hashem al that he delights and has tainug from the avodah, so that brings the simchas chosim. And the hainu yichud atzilus shenikra chosim, that is the union of atzilus, which is called the chosim, milashoin nechois darga, from the language descent the level, liyos mashpia lemoker debiyah, to go ahead and give mashpia to the source of biyah, which is malchus, shenikra kala. That's the kala. So to have the chosin atzilus to give to biyah through the level of the mokar biyah. The efsher zois, in order to have the simchas chosin, to have the simcha of the nechois darga, to have the simcha of the hashpoah, to be mashpia, that's not possible. The efsher zois ki'im al yidei b'chinas yenosi mekoidem. First, you have to have the level of yenosi. You have to look at and gaze in a level of Hashem, in that level of the splendor, the tainug from the glory of Hashem through the meditation. And then you can be mamshich, the hamshoche from atzilus to biyah, the simchas chosin. By yidei hasimcha shel hachosen v'kala, and through this joy of the chosen and kala, shehu hatainuk shel shneim kinal, which is both the tainuk of the chosen and the kala, yochel liyes bechinas tamosi, that can have the level of tamosi, shehu bechinas yichud chosen v'kala. That's the level of the yichud of the chosen v'kala. Shehu bechinas Zov and Nukva canal, which is the level of Zo and Nukva, the Midos and the Sfiras HaMalchus in Atzilus. Through that Simcha, there can be the union, and there can be the Hamshacha. And as it will be in the future. The Ksiv, over there it says, Uma'ayin, the base Hashem, that there was a well that comes out from the base Hashem, which waters the valley of Shitim Chulu. Basically, the valley of the Shittim, that's the level of Biyah, which is separated. But then we'll have the Mayon, the well, from the Ein Sof, the Beis Hashem, will water it, which means it will come down the Gilui of the Ein Sof. Shaloi yiyeh bechinas almin de pruda klal k'moishehu ato. It is not going to be like the world is now in a level of almin de pruda. K'moishe kosu, like the pasuk says, v'nohor yoytze me'eden u'mashom yiporet. So over there, now, when the river goes out, here we're talking about a well. But when the river comes out of Eden, now, Misham Yiparit Chulu. Over there, it separates. So Meil becomes an Alma de Pruda. But then it'll be Ma'ayin Mebeis Hashem, V'hishkilas Nachal Hashitim, that it'll gonna water Masha'enkin La'osid, Yir bechinas tamosi, but in the future it will be in the level of tamosi. Shu bechinas to'imosi chulu will be my twin, because it'll be the yichud of the zon v'nukva v'dailemevin. So basically, what the Rebbe discussed, the Alter Rebbe over here in the thing, is that we need the rest of the posik of achas hi Yenosi Tamosi, that in order to bring about through the Torah mitzvahs the additional light, which is the advantage, he says, that's the greatness of the Neshamas Yisrael, that only they, not the Malachim, and not even Torah, because Torah is limited by whatever it came down, whatever the halacha, that the halacha, but the Yidden are always mamshich more and more, and that makes them greater. So this takes place. First, you need to have the level of achas to connect to Hashem in a level of bittul, and be able to make the world into a place which connects to Hashem, and that makes it mostly makes it whole and makes it a twin, because you are mamshich and you bring about the yichud of Zov and Nukva, of this Midos and Malchus, and you bring down the Hamshoche, and then we have, unlike now, where we have Nohar Yotzem Eden Misham Yiporid, in which there is separation, in which there is a pirud. But the Osid Love will say, that is not going to be the level of pirud. Basically, the Yid's work today is also to get it in the level like it will be Osid Love. But when will it be Nizgala? That will be Nizgala only Osid Love. Then we will see it. But the job of a Yid is to be mamshich through his Torah and mitzvahs, and through the level of achas, through the level of yonosi, gazing, the level of meditation. to bring about the level of tamosi, to bring the level of wholesomeness, and also in the level of the twin.